What's up guys? So today's video I'm going to show a little bit of the progress on Kennet's 2021 Zx10R. Some of you already saw his videos, they know his channel, they follow all of that, but I'm going to leave on the description below, I'm going to leave a link for his channel so you guys can follow him and see all the progress, because he have much more content about his bike than I have. So as you guys know, some of you know, we already ran the bike with pump fuel, we already run the bike with MR12, and being honest, I was surprised with the results because the bike's still restricted. Yes, the bike's still restricted. There is no way so far to flash this ECU. This new ECU Kawasaki is using in another models as well, but it's not available, nothing for it yet, so we're still waiting. I know some of you are going to say, oh, but Chris Moore put it on the dyno and the bike was restricted. No. The bike's still restricted. The only thing he did was keeping the ETV open after 11,000 RPMs, and that type of stuff you cannot even do it while you're running on the street, and if you do that, you're gonna run into some issues because the electronic throttle valve pretty much is your throttle. Okay, so I'm gonna show a little bit what was done. I'm gonna explain a little bit how the dyno works and how you can do some stuff. So there is some good information, so I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys see the whole thing, because somehow it's helpful for some of you guys. And at the end of the video I will come back and we talk a little bit more, okay?
So we're over here at Motorcycle Mall and we're about to put the 2021 on the dyno, and we're speaking with Ricardo about his dyno today. We just want to let everybody know that, you know, this is the dyno we use, this is why we're using it, and this is the way it's set up. So Ricardo, if you can, just go over like the basic stuff about it, like software, sensor, and why you got this big ventilation system up here. And no, people, that is not AC, that is ventilation, and he's going to tell you why.
So the reason why we have that portion over there, that's our intake, okay? Up here we have our exhaust system, and the reason why this room is set up like this, it's because when we decided to build a dyno room, we contacted DynoJet, and DynoJet said, okay, here's the dimensions, and you guys need to use this specific company that it builds custom enclosed rooms for dyno rooms. So they came over here, they installed, they built everything for us. After that, we need to call the third party to come over here and certify both systems, the intake, exhaust, because it needs to have a specific pressure inside of the dyno room in order to work the way it is. So like even the windows are, it's not a double window, it's like technically we have 4 windows right there, like for the sound and everything else. As far as software, we have the latest, the greatest from DynoJet. We actually don't need to do nothing. He updates himself every single time the update comes out. We use the latest updates available for the dyno as a hardware. And as far as the rest of the setup, what a lot of people they don't know is the most important part. It's a sensor. It's a sensor just like this. This is atmospheric sensor, and what this does is it reads air temperature, humidity. If this is not reading properly, the dyno values will be off, like way off. So for you guys to see where mine is set up, they come with this length of cable, and obviously because of the machine is in here, I don't have a lot of room. So this have a magnet on the back, and it's always in here. So if this is flowing correctly, as this little fan grabbing the air, coming out on the exhaust, it will be reading right. As you guys can see, dates. So that's for today, Saturday. We have temperature and humidity. This is inside of the dyno room right now. So that means, for example, if I come over here, there we go. and it starts producing heat, like I just put my hand around the sensor, look what's happening, temperature is going up. So this is extremely sensitive. So like, as long as it's there, and it's reading the air that is coming into the dyno room, should be good, with no problems. As far as correction factor is used for people around the world can compare their dynos. So, me personally, I'm a European person. I use standard values. There is people like to use SAE. There's people used to use another ones. I personally use a standard for my own reasons.
And you use that on every bike you dyno, correct?
Every single bike.
Okay.
Every single bike, I use standard numbers. I dyno all the bikes with the same tire pressure. I run the center of the axle always in the same position, so I try to be more consistent as possible all the time.
Yeah, we know consistency is key.
Yeah.
So now you guys know about the room, how it's set up and why it's set up the way it is. And you also see that sensor over there is super sensitive. So Ricardo never moves that sensor. It's always in the same spot every time he does a dyno. Yeah. So these are the numbers right here. So the 197 is 5th gear pulls, and that was just to compare it to other people that are doing 5th gear pulls as well. So for us, we do, as you can see over here, we do 4th gear. It's 196 with 88, basically 89 foot-pounds of torque. So what we're gonna do now, so I wanted to ask Ricardo if it was possible to show how people can manipulate dynos. And basically the sensor that we talked about last time, so we're gonna manipulate it by putting it towards a heat source basically. And you're gonna see how much of a difference, one, when it changes the temperature up here, but everything else stays the same, how it affects the numbers on the board. How much it's gonna affect it, we don't know because we've never tried it, so this is gonna be the first time. Who knows, it may be 1 horsepower, maybe 10 horsepower, but we're gonna find out. So I'm gonna let Ricardo show y'all exactly what he's gonna do, so that way, you know, as you can see, his sensor is still up here from last time.
Still connected. That's you can show the temperature that is where we at right now. So 64. This is the temperature that we have at this moment on the dyno. And what we did was previously I put the sensor over here close to a heat source, in this case my computer. Hopefully,
just so y'all know, that's not connected. He's got it.
Yeah, he
right
just
there.
took it off.
Yeah,
so. This only have like a little magnet, so I just stick it in here for a little bit. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unplug my sensor. I'm gonna plug my backup, because this is an older one that I kept it as a backup, because this wears out with the time. So I'm gonna unplug this one. It's not even easy to unplug this thing. Okay, so now it's plugged.
You see the light on it?
Yeah, the temperatures went up at least So you guys can see the last pull that I did, the maximum temperature reached it was 62 degrees and humidity was at 19. And now we have all these variations. And now I'm gonna do a pull under these conditions. Nothing changed besides the sensor. We didn't change nothing absolutely. Let's see how we can fool the dyno.
All right, so just for explanation, we got, this is the pull in 4th gear. These two are 5th gear. This is before we did the sensor test. So we moved the sensor and got the temperature to change. It went up 10 degrees. The humidity pretty much stayed the same.
Yeah, this one is 4th gear.
Yeah, that's 4th, and these two are 5th.
These two is 5th gear, and these 3 in a row, these 198 are 5th gear with a sensor reading high temperature, and this one was on 4th gear to test as well. So we can see that adding a little bit more temperature and less humidity, like trying to fool the system, that's where you can gain like 1-2 horsepower depending how extreme it is, but it's difficult to duplicate that. So you guys can see the maximum temperature readed when we were trying to fool the system was 74 degrees, which is impossible because we are in the middle of the winter, and humidity was 14. Now I plug it back, my regular sensor, where it's located right now, and as we can see, it's 64 with 18. And the reason why it's 64 degrees inside of this room, it's because the bike is hot and it's generating temperature. So right here, right now, you guys can hear the fan.
Yeah, 213.
So like right now, we are nice and hot, but if you record the guys over there, they are like all in jackets. So it's, you know, soon we turn on the fans, temperature goes down. It's a pretty normal common thing.
Yeah, but the main thing is that the temperature and humidity have been basically the same every time we've been on the dyno.
Yeah.
Because it's always been in the 60s.
It's always consistent. Yes, it's always consistent with the temperature that is outside. It's always like kind of, you know, same level. Of course, as we progress through the summer, spring, summer, temperatures are going to start to raise up, which is pretty normal, but it doesn't matter. You come like in the summer, you come like 3 days in a row, and the temperatures are going to be like ballpark on the same, you know, on the same spot. So there's no magic trick, there's no nothing. The calculation that the dyno does, it's the same for any dynojet dyno. It's when you purchase a dyno like this, you have the tools to calibrate. You need to be really full if you want to mess with the calibration on it, because then it's going to throw off a lot of numerous things.
So is it on the dyno, is it any other way for somebody to manipulate the numbers?
No.
So
no
increasing load, decreasing load, anything, none of that?
There is nothing that we can physically do. And that is a question that is being made several times. And the actual owner of the company, Dynojet, already wrote an article about that. There's no way to manipulate that.
Well,
if a dyno is reading wrong or like off, it needs to be a problem, or the units where the conditions where the dyno room, maybe the room air is not working properly, stuff like that, that can cause, because the bike is actually not performing the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. So my guess for 196 was pretty much spot on.
Yes. To be honest with you, I didn't expect that, so it was like a surprise.
You didn't expect it to pick up no more because of where it's picking up at, right?
Exactly, because the problem is with these bikes, the bike is restricted in several ways. One of them will be the electronic throttle valve. When it reaches 11,000 RPMs, it does not open more. And
you can see on the when you were tuning, you can see how it was in the 100% column, and then it just shot back over.
Yes. You might have that on video. You might show that on later for the guys can see. So when you reach here, the bike dips. When we talk as the restrictor bike, it will be you need to physically hack into the ECU, and you need to command the ECU to execute some other tactics for the throttle valve, which is not happening because no one have a map available for this ECU yet.
Yeah. So if we did, for instance, what Chris Moore did and made the throttle blade stay open,
which is easy to do. Yes, we can go over there and I know a way to make it stay open. This will, let's say, whoops, sorry. So let's grab one of the pools, which I messed it up over here now. So what will happen is, over here, it will keep pulling. Like if I grab, let's say, we can grab another Zx10, for example. And it will be something like this. It will keep pulling. Obviously, this is not the same.
That's the 20.
It's a 2020 that we made here in house.
Okay, so let's just say theoretically, right? If we're using this blue line as a basis for what we could see potentially out of this bike, right? If that line was consistent with this one at the same spread, and that bike made 205. So.
Yes, it made 205, but your bike right now is on race fuel. This bike wasn't.
Yeah.
This bike wasn't pump fuel, so it's obviously is gonna be like way stronger. Like MR12, it's it's the best fuel you can put your hands on.
Yeah, the nastiest fuel as well.
Yes, yes, that is true. But like even if you look to the torque figures and all that, it's pretty similar. Like you can see that this is the new bike. It is different. You can tell right away that the new bike is slightly different, especially when you add race fuel on it. This thing is gonna be trouble. Yeah.
So I'm guessing for me, my conclusion is while the bike is different, the bike is really similar to the last generation in a lot of ways. And as far as like when it comes to power, a lot of people, some people are saying that nothing changed in the motor, but we know stuff changed because we've watched a video of the actual Kawasaki. What is he?
He's from England. Is the let's say the director of marketing.
Yeah.
And he was explaining, how the changes were made and why they were made, which basically were requirements from the superbike teams. Because the better base they have, better they can achieve their goals, because there is a lot of restrictions even for the superbike class. Everything that is below the heads they cannot touch. It needs to remain stock.
Yeah, but we know off the changes that he said that it's going to be sort of like when they went from the Gen 4 to the Gen 5, right? It was what, a couple horsepower increase, right?
No, the Gen 4 to the Gen 5 was a big jump.
Like
I would say it will be more like almost between when the 18 model to the 19 model.
That's what I meant.
It's more like this.
Because it's a conversation as those being two generations, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I meant from there.
Yeah.
So
except the RR. The RR is a total different.
Yeah, that's a different bike.
We are actually waiting for our bikes to arrive so we can start our process.
Yeah, so if I had to, for my guess, for once the bike is de-restricted, if the previous generation's making say 205 on pump gas, I would say this one will make 208 to 210 on pump gas, because I don't see them making a bike that's almost identical with the changes that they made inside of the engine and to the rest of the bike, that it's going to be like a 10 horsepower jump, not on the R model. Now, on the RR model, is it possible? Yeah.
Turn the camera to me, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to record.
Oh no, you're in frame the whole time. Yeah, it's widescreen.
Watching is like Big Brother.
Yeah. So that's just my thoughts on it. Like I've always said, I don't think that they're gonna have that big of a jump between the generations on the R model. On the RR model, is possible, but for these, I say anywhere from 2 to 5 horsepower over what the previous generation made.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Is it a good result or no for a bike that is still restricted? I think so. I think it's a pretty good result. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you have any questions, please ask. I will try my best to answer all the questions. And I want to know what you guys think, how much more power the bike will make after the bike is restricted. I can